Rashmi, is it possible to send this link by WhatsApp to me or WhatsApp to Anandu?
Yeah, I'll do it, sir, right now. Anandu is an NFE group, no? That NFE don't group.
Yeah.
I said it. Yeah, I said it right away.
Yeah.
Saluji.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. It was a wonderful discussion with the Mumbai meeting.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You listen.
The arrangement and the demonstration, you had a live demonstration up to the consumers.
Yes. It has come in Free Press Journal also. They have given, media has also covered the yesterday's event.
Yes, done wonderfully. In the previous Mumbai meeting also it was present in our panel discussion.
Yes, sir.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, I am audible.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, good morning to all.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, Krish.
Hi, good morning.
Handsome, don't worry, you are handsome.
Thanks.
You are talking to me or to Krish?
Hi, Mr. Amrit. Amrit Lal.
Sir, am I audible? My sound is good.
Good.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Sound is good,
Thank
but
you.
no video.
My video, you see, last few days, my computer is in trouble.
Okay.
Even my laptop, I don't get on Zoom videos. Now I have gone into the desktop. Somehow.
Actually, I joined through two devices, one through the laptop and another through the phone. So voice is in laptop and the camera is in phone. Temporary arrangement.
Okay, the video okay. Huh? Okay, video coming this. Okay, that's all.
Okay. Sir, it's 11:01. So can we start, sir?
Yes.
Okay.
I think we can start.
Yes, sir. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. This webinar is an initiative of NFE. NFE's vision and mission is to make the nation electrically safe. So we have a well-renowned speaker, Mr. Gopakumar, who is the founder and president of NFE. Also is a member of the technical committees of BAS and IEC and National Building Code 2016. Also, we have our distinguished panelist speakers, Mr. Appavu, General Secretary and founder of NFE, Mr. Hemant Sali, founder and retired Public Works Department, Inspectorate Wing, Maharashtra, and Mr. Atul S. Kakar, Chartered Electrical Safety Engineer, Maharashtra, Mr. Krish Theobald, Technical Director, Protego Plus Electrotech Private Limited, and Mr. Amrit Lal, Managing Director, Vidyut Enterprise Kozhikode. So I welcome Mr. Gopakumar to take over from here. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Lakshmi. Thank you. I hope my voice is clear this time. I am trying to join through
Yes.
multiple devices. So,
Yes, sir.
good morning to all the panelists and the participants. This is our second program on panel discussion on central CEA regulations, which was published on 8th of June last month, June. The new regulation has brought a lot of new points or some amendments into the old 2010 regulation. Now, our first panel discussion had got very good interest. We had more than 675 participants last time, which was on 1st July. And today we are going to discuss about, not about the entire regulation, but very specifically some of the subjects which is there on the regulation. Especially today we will discuss on regulation number 5, number 6, or regulation number 3, which is basically explaining or the requirements of the officer or the person who is handling electrical safety. So, as all of you know, we have a big list of 6 panelists today, including me. 5 experts are also joining with me. Mr. Amritlal, Apau sir, as always with us. Then Hemant Sali sir. Yesterday we were there in Mumbai. We had Atmanirbhar Suraksha program, a very successful program yesterday at Mumbai. Also, our young engineer, Mr. Krish, and Mr. Atul Kakkad, who is a member of NFE. So let me start the first question with Mr. Amritlal. Mr. Amritlal, the first question is towards you. Generally, the electrical contractor is the designated person for doing the electrical job. Where is this defined in CEA regulation? Similarly, is it defined anywhere in a state government system, like maybe because since electricity is a concurrent subject, states also can make some changes or follow something. Is it explained also in the state requirement? If both places, CEA regulation as well as in the state government requirement, if contractors are defined and how this is made and on what basis? Over to you, Mr. Amrit.
Yeah, good morning. So, the thing is, on regulation 2010 as well as in 2020, in regulation 2023, there is a clause 31, which talks about electrical contractors and definition at 51. 31 is precautions to be adopted by consumers, owners, occupiers, electrical contractors, and electrical workmen and suppliers. In 31.1, it defines about who is actually able to work on electrical lines or electrical work. The person who is entrusted the work should have a competency certificate, and the contractor, it is not explicitly explained, but it is understood that the contractor has to have his own competent persons. Then only he can execute the work. So 31.2, it clearly states that no electrical installation work which has been carried out in contravention to subregulation 1 shall be either energized or connected to works of any supplier. That means any work other than just a lamp holder change or small works, which doesn't actually have any danger for the consumer or the person who is working on the electrics. So that case, he can have his own, the person does not have to need this technical expertise and competency certificate. For all other works, a competent person is required. Now, on the second part, this is the problem is the competency certificate is left to the recognized by the state government. Now, from this onwards, I mean, from 31(1), recognized by the state government make rules. But more often, what I have seen, even in, I have to tell this, because when they make regulations, they don't quote the proper regulations on while drafting the regulations. So for example, in Kerala, they have published a gazette on 30th of 2020, in which they have just set 180, quoting 180 of the Electrical Act. 180 is the act for empowering the state government to make rules. But that doesn't mean the state can make any rules, even contradictory to the regulations. It has to be within the, in line with the regulations. So when, quoting the regulation, the correct regulation, while framing the, even the, what you call the license rules, what they call, it has to be specified whether earlier, I think it was on 29. The regulation 29 was empowering the state government to fix up the supervisors or competent wiremen and all that. So the framing of these regulations are very much necessary. So these are the two things usually the state governments by which they make licensing rules and constitute a licensing board also. This board actually now comes under the electrical inspectorate. There is no place it is said that it has to be under.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Amrit.
Yeah.
That part of the question goes to the next panelist. Thanks for your explanation. Now over to Appav sir. Appav sir, a small question. How contractors are selected and licensed by the state government, and how their skills are evaluated initially and periodically? We would like to get answers probably from Appav sir and from Saliji, so that two states we will be able to understand how the state governments are doing it. Sir, the question is how contractors are selected and licensed by the state government, and how their skills are evaluated during the initial day and periodically. Over to you, Appav sir. Ms. Lakshmi, can you check? Appav sir is there on the.
Sorry.
Yes, sir.
Sir,
He's there.
Yeah, you
Yes,
are
sir.
audible.
Sorry. See, Amrit Lal has already explained about Regulation 31, and it's there. The installation shall be carried out by licensed electrical contractor as per Regulation 31. It also empowers the state government to provide a mechanism of listing out the licensed contractor as per Regulation 33(1). So, actually the scope of contractors, before explaining the provision, the methodology, I will tell something on the scope of electrical contractor. The consumer, everywhere the consumer only alone will be coming, but they should be reliable. It should be based on the contractor's report only, because as per Regulation 45(1), the consumer shall send a application that includes the contractor's completion certificate. That should be insisted by the inspectorial organizations. For example, there is a wording that every circuit should be tested. That is a wording in Regulation 45(1), that every circuit shall be tested. When this is the case, consumer, we can't expect the consumer to test everything, so we rely on the contractor. That's why the contracting licenses have come into existence since 1956 year old. So it varies from state to state. Though the contractors licensing process is done as per regulation 33(1), it varies from state to state. For example, in Tamil Nadu, what we are doing, there are 4 types of contractors licensing. One is EB. EB is for household and domestic premises. They can't do wiring beyond a certain limit, say 125 kilowatt or 125 HP. So another thing, the next level is ESB. The electrical contractor, super B, we call it a super B, ESB. They can undertake all ME installations, irrespective of capacity. Even in the ST installation, if there is an ME portion alone, they can do. In LTCT premises, if the total connector load exceeds 120 HP, they can do it. So another level is EA contractor. They can do ST installations, say, less than 33, up to 33 kV. That is EA licensed contractors. Beyond 33 for EHV and other things, only ESA, super A grade, they are licensed by the electrical. We are having electrical licensing board for this. They stipulate the required experience and the required parameters. You can file the application, online application. For example, for the EB contractor, we prescribe just an earth tester and an insulation tester with small, another small line testers, everything, multimeter. So for ESB, one more gadget will come in. For EA, they have to procure the 2.5 kV earth tester. For example, if it is 500 volt for EB, it will be 2.5 kV for EA. And there is in ESA category, they have to procure so many other testing instruments also. In spite of all these things, they have to get it calibrated at a laboratory, periodically calibrated. Periodicity will be stipulated by our laboratory. We have one laboratory which is NABL accredited. We can go up to 50 ppm on calibration. So they have to test it. In some cases, we permit testing by the MRT laboratories locally available to enable the EB contractors to enable the renewal or new fraction. So besides this, there are bank guarantee. The strength of electrician supervisors are more important. For example, for EA contractor, we can insist the supervisor, just a fresher with not a fresher, a SEC holder can have a certification. He is sufficient. For this ESA grade, we require the strength, we rely on the strength of the supervisor because the contractors don't need to have experienced, technically experienced person. He can be a owner, but he should employ the right person. That is our motive. So here, the ESA license holder should have a draftsman, an office with a full setup, and a supervisor certificate holder shall have a qualification of at least, he should have signed 5 completion report, at least the HV and EHV. Unlike ESA, unlike EA. So this is the procedure. But monitoring, as far as you told, monitoring and action during the inspection, monitoring is not done periodically because it will be done during the inspection by the electrical inspectors across the state. And if there are any complaints received, if there are any false rectification report, then action will be taken, giving due show cause notice to the contractors. And based on the reply, some further course of action is being initiated, whether to suspend the license or cancel the license or to accept the contractor's version. So these are provisions available as far as Tamil Nadu is concerned. Regarding other states, you can.
Thank you, sir. So it was a brief explanation. Thank you. Saliji, the same question, how the system is made in Maharashtra. Can you explain for the information of all the participants?
So as has been already said, that this comes under the purview of state, and each state has their own rules according to which they set qualification criteria for the electrical contractors. Yes, in Maharashtra, see, gradation wise, there is no provision at present now. That was under consideration. There has to be but gradation, as Mr. Appav has said, there should have been the gradation of the electrical contractors. The conditions for electrical contractor for to open a business as an electrical contractor, there is no condition, but he has to have an electrical supervisor in his as employed person in his muster. So that is the important criteria. In accordance with the whatever the work is carried out, it is technically certified, and the test report which the contractor signs has to be jointly signed by the supervisor, electrical supervisor. That is the condition. So at present, as I told, there is no gradation right now in Maharashtra.
Thank you, sir. But now this question will have some sub questions.
Okay.
Mostly once when we go to, or once when we discuss about contractors, one of the general topic which comes for a discussion is a person who is qualified in, for example, in Mumbai or Maharashtra cannot work in Tamil Nadu, or a person qualified in Karnataka cannot work in another state. How this is handled, and what is the general procedure?
I think at present, the person having contractor's license in other state has to take a provisional license. He has to provide a copy of that original license, and I think he gets the provisional contractor's license for the other state also. But in respect to other states, I don't know.
So that means in Maharashtra, the contractors, those who are registered in other states, they can have a provisional license for a short period in Maharashtra, so that they can execute the work.
Yes, yes.
Thank you. Sir, Appav sir, how this happens in
Tamil Nadu? In Tamil Nadu, it's not the case. They have to get a license. I think in Andhra also it's there. Whenever the Tamil Nadu people go there, the contractors goes in to do some work in Andhra, they have to take a license there. Similarly, the other state people has to get a license here, because unlike if it is brought out in a centralized manner, that one license for one nation, similar to the driving, then there should be stringent measures, stringent protocol and measures. For example, when I selected a tester for my laboratory, we insisted on the qualification. One of the qualification is he should have worked on that contractor and undertaken testing in installations. But he had shown the certificate. I inquired over phone to the Andhra Chief Electrical Inspector. He told that the license was already withdrawn. See, we can't do research in each and every license of the other state contractors unless we have our own mechanism to verify online or to verify the things. This is the important issue. Only the integrity and reliability is the issue, not the technicality. But in technicality also, there are various procedures adapted across various states. There should be a common procedure like a driving license. There should be a common procedure and a common to assess the thing. Then only it will be possible to bring it in the national level, one license. Otherwise, it will be very difficult to accept the other step licensed contractors. We are not doing in Tamil Nadu. We are not accepting other state unless they can take. They can take a license in Tamil Nadu within the shortest possible time if they have work. It is happening also.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I have a request to Lakshmi. Lakshmi, you have to make me as a co-host. Also, you have to Mr. Khoja sir, the retired Chief Electrical Inspector from Ahmedabad, Gujarat, is also with us. He has made a very good comment in the chat box. So if you can make Mr. Khoja as the panelist, we can get his opinion as well. Now, I come back before going to Mr. Khoja sir. I have another question to Saliji. Saliji, the machines, there are some minimum requirement of the meters and the infrastructure which is required for a contractor has been told by Appav sir, like insulation tester or something minimum. And now in the new regulation, for example, the new tests are being included, such as, for example, the fault loop impedance. Will these meters, which is listed in the regulation, I can't find it in the new regulation, but in the old regulation it was there. Are they sufficient enough to carry out an electrical safety verification in a consumer premise? Saliji, over to you. You are on mute.
Presently, the insulation testing and earth resistance, these two instruments are necessary. But as per the new requirement, which has been set for the CESC, those instruments need to be added in the list of instruments. And I think that is actually the need in accordance with the licenses should be issued henceforth. The regulations in Maharashtra were formed in 2017. I don't know about the other states, but of course, this dates are far later than when the regulations came out 2010. So this amendments, if at all needed, has to be done now.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Apav sir, what is your opinion on this, sir? Does these meters, which is generally insisted for the electrical contractor, is it sufficient enough to carry out a verification?
Yes, sir. I have already told under regulation 45.5, the consumer should submit. Please go to the regulation 45.5, where it is clearly insisted that the consumer shall submit the application, and with that test every circuit. Every circuit means the consumer has to rely on the contractor, and they have to rely on, in turn, they have to rely on the instruments. So what the NEC and IS 732, the verification process, there are so many things, including earth loop impedance and so many parameters and so many instruments are to be yet to be prescribed. With the new regulation 2023, I hope the licensing board or the state electrical inspectorate or the state government, they in turn will have to insist new instruments so that the tested and the installed installation is tested for every circuit, whether it is type 2 coordination, MCB2 cable or fault loop impedance, everything. They have to, in addition to the existing instruments, they have to procure, they have to insist new instruments for extending, for renewing, for issuing a contracted license. It should be a common practice. It should be adopted throughout the country.
Thank you, sir. You told this is regulation 45. Which sub-regulation, sir?
45.5.
45.5. Okay.
I would like to add a few words in this. Actually, this regulation 45 applies to installations above 650 volt. But there is one more regulation, I think it is 31, which requires consumer to give the test report of the installation to the supplying company, and which is for LT installations also. So this format of this test report, I think it is given under Form 4, I suppose. But that form needs to be looked from the point of view of type of installation, whether it is for single phase or three phase.
That is a question which is on the queue.
So not one minute. Not this one. This one. Yeah. Can you see 33?
33.
It is in 33.3.
Yeah. This is the regulation, which was earlier 31. Now it is 33. So test report has to be. It's the format of these test reports need to be corrected because those are very old-fashioned. I have seen actually totally useless forms are there. So those needs to be revised as per the type of installation. 250 volt for three-phase connection, it should be different, and for HT installation, it should be different.
So you are talking about the Schedule 2, the test reports in Schedule 2,
Form 4, I suppose. It is Form 4. This is Form 3. Next to it, yeah. Form
1 is up to and including 250 volt.
But that applies to the consumer for self-declaration. For test report, it is Form number 4, I suppose.
Let me scroll down. Form number 2 is for installation voltage up to 250 and including 650. And you mean to say the regulation, the form number 3 or the form number 4?
4.
So certificate and form number 4. Okay.
Yes.
But
No,
this is for electrical
mine. Oh,
installation.
okay.
Mine.
Can you go further, please?
I think that test report is not there in that new one.
I think it was there in the earlier
It was
regulation.
there. It was there in 2010. It is not there in 2010.
One minute. Yeah. So this is the form. Schedule 3.
Schedule 3. Okay. Okay. Form for obtaining test results by supplier at each supply point to consumer. Okay.
But
Okay,
this
now-
applies to the high tension. Most of the points, if you see, it applies to the high tension installation. It is not actually precisely designed for LT installations.
Okay. Okay. But here also the insulation test is one of the predominant tests.
Yes, of course,
Now,
of course. Yes.
Coming back to you, we would like to have a view from Koja sir. Koja sir, I hope you can hear us. We would like to listen to you, the system in Gujarat. Back to you, sir.
Yes, sir. Good morning to everybody.
Good morning,
Respected
Koja sir.
panelists and good morning. Good morning. First of all, let me thank you, Mr. Gopakumar, for inviting me during all the programs. But because of my social engagements and personal engagements after retirement, could not join you extensively. Today, I tried to join as a participant, not as a panelist, but with reference to your request. As such, my throat is not good. So I was trying not to be a panelist, but I have to honor your request. And when there are senior panelists like Apau sir and Sali Saab, so it is my privilege to be with them. Anyway, so I would like to give the background in the state of Gujarat. In the state of Gujarat, the process of issuing electrical contractor's license is comparatively very simple. In a way, anybody, any person who has got one supervisor appointed with him can apply for a license. And as far as a supervisor's permit is concerned, we conduct examination for that twice in a year. And those who clear that examination, they are given the permit. And if a person is either a diploma holder or a degree holder, he is exempted from that examination and he is straightway given a supervisor's permit. So actually what happens is, if a boy passes out from Diploma Electrical Engineering College and he applies to my office, then my office will give him a permit of supervisor. Now, based on that supervisor permit, any person can apply for a license. And as practice in Maharashtra, there is no categorization in Gujarat as well. So a person who has just passed the Diploma Electrical Engineering can submit a test report on the basis of an electrical contractor's license, even for EHV installation. So this is, big challenge. I hope many states might be facing. So this needs to be addressed in a very focused manner, because unless we attack the root, then only the system would enhance.
Yeah,
so electrical contractor license is a very pious thing, which sanctity should be maintained at all the time. And for that, the regulators have to be very much vigilant. They have to be very attentive. They should control these entire activities. But these all are looking to the massive growth and development in the nation. It is a very big challenge to do so. One more thing, as discussed, as far as equipment and apparatus are concerned, we need only earth tester, Megger, clip-on meter, and multimeter. That's it. The person has to procure only this much equipment, and then he will be given a contractor's license. So my personal view is this electrical contractor licensing. One more thing, we allow the person to work in Gujarat only if and only if he has got a license of Gujarat. There is no mechanism like provisional license as it is in Maharashtra. So he has to either come in Gujarat and then he has to apply for a license by deploying some supervisor from the Gujarat state, and that's how it works. So in the present scenario, electrical contractors, I would not say it's very challenging for them to measure the earth fault loop impedance and all that is necessary in context with the safety. So my personal opinion is that this contractor licensing should be uniform for the entire nation. The qualifying criteria should also be uniform so that the safety level would be enhanced and at par for every state. Anyway, I think this is enough for the time being from my state side. Thank you.
Thank you.
Actually,
Thank you, sir.
Well
Thank
said,
you.
Pooja sir. What you are saying, that is perfect. The criteria should be uniform throughout the India, throughout the for all states. So this differentiation between the different criteria of different states are making a lot of mess. And as a globalization, we should consider about this restriction of using one state's license in other states. Those hindrances should be removed. That is very necessary.
True.
So the
True,
ideal
true.
situation is one nation, one rule, one license, Raj, or one
Yes,
license.
yes,
So anybody
yes,
can. Okay, that is a
correct.
good
Work
thing.
anywhere.
But,
That will give flexibility of working, and at the same time, the qualifying criteria would also be uniform for them. Yeah.
okay. I think that could be a good recommendation for the future workings of our the regulators. Thanks for the all the inputs, sir.
My pleasure.
Now, I would like to go to the next subject. Of course, contracting and licensing, this is always a discussion, a point of discussion. Now, the next question is regulation, the new regulation 6 or the old regulation 5A, the Chartered Electrical Safety Engineer. So we have with us Mr. Atul Kakkad, who is a Chartered Electrical Safety Engineer in Maharashtra. Mr. Atul, you have, hope your camera and the mic is working. So
Yes.
the question to you is how Chartered Electrical Safety Engineers are selected by the state government and how their skills are evaluated initially. Does any system exist to evaluate the skills periodically and in what frequency?
Okay. Am I hearable to all of you? So I can start.
Yes.
Okay. So here in Maharashtra, actually in 2019, Maharashtra government come with one GR that as per the CEA regulations earlier in 2010, the CSE shall be appointed in the Maharashtra. Actually, then in 2020, initially there was one exam, but it was almost very unknown to all of the electrical engineers and the people who are working in the field. So recently, in the 2020 exam was conducted, 22 exam was conducted. So the criteria is that he should be an electrical engineer. Then he must have a experience of 5 years in the electrical field, and he shall have a 50% mark in the exam, which will be carried out by the chief electrical inspector officers. So after passing the exam, he has to apply for the registration. But the one term which is actually we are facing problem here in Maharashtra also, because the thing is that now almost I think we have a 76 candidate who are qualified as a chartered electrical safety engineer, but as of now, I think only 15 or 16 persons who are registered. Earlier it was only one, but as of date it is almost 16. So uh, actually, the chief electrical inspector offices are actually avoiding to issue the certificate those who are working in a private organization or the government organization, and those who possess the electrical contractor certificates. So the term is that either you have to surrender the electrical contractor certificate or you have to leave the job. Okay. From then only you can get registered as a CSC. So this is what the scenario in Maharashtra. Regarding the renewal frequency or what the qualification again, as of now, the certificate is valid for the 3 years from the date of issue. Again, we have to apply for the renewal. But definitely there is no any type of exam will be there again for the qualification. And right now exam, what they have conducted is totally based on the some electrical engineering, the basic electrical engineering theoretical parts. Some are from the some questions from the regulations, boards, and all those. But in practical, definitely there is a the scope that the total qualifications, the system can be improved. There could be some questions related to some practical conditions, some at what we are talking about, the tests which are required to do the electrical safety audits and all those things. So there is a scope, but this is how it is in Maharashtra right now.
Okay,
Thank you, Mr.
I
Atul.
would like to add a few things about this. So Maharashtra government is not avoiding to issue the registrations. The question is that CEA has circulated the guidelines in respect of qualifying these chartered safety engineers. And as per those conditions, the condition is that the person should not be engaged in any other activity. So Maharashtra government just following that, and I think most of the other states will also be following that. If at all they want to make any change in the guidelines, they will have to get it first clarified from the local state government legislative, and then only they can make the changes. In Maharashtra, it has been initiated that few changes are proposed now to the Energy Secretary, and I think it is being considered now. I don't know how much time it will take, but certainly some few changes will happen in this regard, because there are very less number of chartered safety engineers available, and due to this, almost all low tension installations are not being inspected at all.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for
Can
adding
I come in?
Yeah,
Yes,
now
go
over
on.
to you, Mr. Amrit. You wanted to answer something.
Yes, I just wanted to ask both these persons whether the notified voltage is declared in state of Maharashtra and Gujarat. Because if you keep the notified voltage 50 volts, then there is no need of CEA.
Okay, the question is, I think your voice was a little bit breaking. The question was the notified voltage in Maharashtra as well as in Gujarat, and up to below which voltage this CAC is valid. Saliji, can you answer?
One more thing. See, the 11 kV voltage that has been notified, but regulation further says that a consumer has the option to get his installation inspected either from chartered safety engineer or electrical inspector. So following the regulation number 30, I mean the periodical inspection, so it is obligatory to the consumer to get his installation inspected. If he is not getting any chartered safety engineer available to test his installation, he should approach electrical inspector and get his installation tested. There is no inspection fee applied in Maharashtra for electrical inspections, so that is also a good point which he can. It is certainly helpful for him also. So, but it is not exempted, and any contravention with the regulation is punishable. That the common person should understand.
No,
okay, thank you.
I think the question was not that.
Electrical inspector is not prevented to carry out the inspection below 11 kV voltage or notified voltage, but the person has to approach to him to get his installation tested.
That means 11 kV is the notified voltage in Maharashtra.
11 kV is notified voltage, yes.
Okay. So that notified voltage has to be told by the state government.
Yes, yes.
So then only the relevance of CEC exists.
Yes, right.
Exactly. Thank you. Thanks for the question, Amritlal. Thank you. So also, Khoja sir, if you are there, can you put some light on about Gujarat?
Yes, sir. In Gujarat, the notified voltage level is 440 volts. It means that all the installations up to 440 volt have to be got inspected through a chartered electrical safety engineer, or has to be gone through self-certification. And as Salisa has said rightly, it is an option of the consumer or owner of the installation from whom he wants to get it inspected. As far as chartered electrical safety engineers are concerned in Gujarat, we have prepared the guidelines for appointing chartered electrical safety engineers, and the first examination is on the verge of conduction. So it will be conducted soon. So as of now, there is no chartered electrical safety engineer appointed in Gujarat, but we are looking forward to appoint in future, in near future.
Thank you, sir. Yeah. Thank you, sir. I think most of the time the notified voltage which we say, this is AC voltage, but now we have to actually think of DC, especially for solar PV installation, where sometimes the voltage up to 1000-volt DC is also designated
Sir.
as low voltage.
Sir, my view on this, may I represent my view?
Please, sir.
These safety regulations are meant mainly for the consumers. And solar, etc., are generating stations mostly. And ultimate utilization is on the AC part, right on the AC part. So that's why this notified voltage seems suitable based on AC level. My view, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Appav, sir, your view on this DC
Yes.
voltage? Let's say
Yes.
800-volt DC.
Actually, the crux of the issue is not defining the voltage. That is, voltage is not classified in the recently adopted 2023 CEA. It was there in the IE rule, low voltage, medium voltage. The voltage itself was also there. We can refer NEC also, because there are a lot of confusion among engineers to discuss what is a ME, what is a SV, what is a LV. This is a thing. So as per NEC, I think it is under section 2, part 1, section 2, class 3.23.3. It specifically provides what is LV, ME, SV. At least till such time the CEA is amending or providing a proper voltage classification, we can adapt the S12 thing. This is a basis thing. But as far as this particular issue is concerned, whether it is 1100 volt AC or DC, if we define 650, then we will have to go for inspection of all domestic premises where there could be in a flat. For example, in a flat, if the flat owner or the multi-story building is having, say, for example, a 50 kilowatt solar panel and 1200 volt DC is coming into picture, then it cannot be construed that electrical inspector should go and inspect and permit all the things. It is humanly impossible, because the renewable energy and everything is getting expanded. We are having a handful of engineers, at least 100, less than 100 inspectors. How they can cater all these lakhs of consumers, prospective consumers, existing consumers, renewable and difference inspection? It is reasonably impossible. So we have to redefine the voltage. The 1100 volt DC as per IEC, as per international norms, have to be treated. First of all, the 650 volt should be scrapped. There is no such voltages in the entire country and universally also. This should be scrapped. This age-old 1937-year-old voltages. We have to scrap these voltages. We have to align with the latest standard. There is no harm in adopting a figure, a value, which can be accommodated as a notified voltage. In my opinion, up to 1100 volts DC, AC, and 1.5 kV DC can be treated as a LV, low voltage, because we can't strictly follow and define the things. For example, in olden days, there are TV sets. There is a CRO which can have a high voltage. Can we treat it as a HV installation? So we can meticulously go into the intricacies. We have to see the application, and we have to redefine the voltage classification, which should provide the base for the voltage notification. In my opinion, voltage can be notified up to 1500 volts DC and AC. So DC or 1000 volt AC. Beyond that,
thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Actually, in the draft, it was 1000-volt AC, but in the final regulation, again, it went back to the 650-volt system. We don't know why this has happened. Now, I would like to take the question to a totally different direction.
GK sir, can I have just 2 points regarding the CSC especially. I want to highlight 2 points. First, as the purpose of the CSC is that there should be a periodical verification of the electrical installations, but generally the LT installations. So, first clause of that is that either electrical contractor or the employee in the organization, that shall be removed, because of these clauses, no one is coming forward to become as a CSC. And if there are the less number of people, definitely the purpose would not be fulfilled. And similarly, as we discussed about electrical contractor, one nation, one rule, same is also applicable to the CSE. Right now, the CSE in the one state cannot do the verification in the other state. So that can be also thing. So in upcoming some CA regulations. So these 2 points I think are important. So the maximum number of the persons who are working can actually contribute in a electrical safety. So this is what the 2 points I wanted to highlight.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Atul. Thank you, Mr. Atul. We have one of the attendees, Sri Kirit Patel, raised the hand. Mr. Kirit Patel, we have allowed to unmute and speak. If you would like to speak, you can speak after the explanation of the next question. The next question is, we were talking the system in India. Let us try to find out what others are doing. We have with us Mr. Krish Theobald, who has got education and who has got experience in UK. So, Mr. Krish, I have a question to you. The question is how the skills of electrical professionals are evaluated in UK. What is the process of the certifying them for the first time, and then how they are periodically evaluated? Can you elaborate on this?
Sure. So in the UK and several developed countries, they have something called a competent person scheme, which is basically you have private organizations and bodies that certify people to do electrical work. And really, you need to be part of these schemes to get work for insurance reasons and otherwise. So say you go to electrician's college, you do 2 years of electrician's college, and you do an apprenticeship on the side. Then you work on site, you study the national wiring regulations or the national wiring standards. So in India, we have IS 732 and NEC 2023. In the UK, we have BS 7671. So you study this, you pass an exam on this, and you pass an exam on inspection and testing. So how do you test as per the national wiring standard? So, RCD testing, loop impedance testing, insulation resistance testing, functional testing, so on and so forth, continuity protective conductors. Then, if you like, you can also study electrical design. You'll be given a scenario-based question. You'll have to design an actual electrical installation. And throughout these processes, then you get certificates and you can register with a competent person scheme. Generally, 40 hours of practical examinations are also taken. It's called before you're essentially allowed into those competent person scheme, again, externally assessed. Then when you are in the competent person scheme, every year you're required to do a certain number of hours of continuous professional development, and you're assessed on site. So say I'm part of competent person scheme A, every year I have to bring an assessor from that competent person scheme with me to on site, show them an electrical installations I've designed, tested, installed. If it is satisfactory, they ask you some technical questions, then you're allowed to continue practicing as that professional. And on your electrical installation certificate, which is a certificate that is required to be handed over to your client, there are 3 signatures required for installation, for design, for installation, and for testing. When you sign on these, the form is generally provided by your competent person scheme with your number there. So essentially, it's providing guarantee to the consumer and the client that work is done according to the national wiring regulations, and it comes with public liability insurance that is also provided by the competent person scheme or in collaboration with the competent person scheme. So like we cannot test every electrical installation. The government cannot test every electrical installation. So what they do is there's a ISO standard, and as per that ISO standard, private organizations certify electrical engineers, and these electrical engineers or electricians go on site and certify installations. So the private organizations only audit the professionals. That way, in a structured manner, you're able to ensure quality over all electrical installations. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, Krish, thanks for the elaborate answer. Now, this means this is not controlled by a government system, but it is based on the ISO standard, and the scheme, which is maybe running by a private company or probably some organizations, the scheme will be explaining the quality requirement or the evaluation criteria. Am I correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And the schemes are all the schemes are also all accredited and controlled. And also importantly, the schemes are based on requirements set by the government and government in terms of legislature and standards. So while the government does not have direct control over the schemes, by through bodies that write standards and that write regulations, that indirectly will affect the quality, that, well, I'd say not quality, the criteria for electrical engineers to be certified. And obviously, if these change, then there is a change in the requirements for the scheme as well. So, yeah.
Okay, that means in UK up to 1000 volt AC and 1500 volt DC, all the requirements of BS 7671 must be met, and this is ensured by the competent person who can be a designer or a contractor or a verifier. Is that right?
So yeah, it's not broken down to designer, contractor, verifier. There are slightly different things, but yes, essentially, and up to 1000 volts AC or 1500 volts GC, BS 7671 applies. You can make a departure from BS 7671. However, then it is the onus of the actual professional that's making that departure to submit a risk assessment and take any liability if something goes wrong. So really, what you need to be doing is complying with BS 7671, because otherwise you're not even going to get insurance coverage. So yeah.
Okay, thank you. So does any panelist have any views on this particular subject? Now, before going to the panelist, I have one more question. Krish, for example, for verifying an electrical installation up to 1000 volt AC, 1500 volt DC, what kind of meters are required? Let's say in a hospital.
Okay, so if you don't mind, I'll just share my screen. Is that okay?
Yes, please.
Okay, it says I cannot share my screen while other people are part. Okay,
you can.
One moment. Desktop. Okay. So I have here is it visible?
Yes.
So it's a model form for circuit details and test result schedule. It's as per IEC 60364. This is in IS 732. The same thing is also available in NEC. So they're asking you for the test, they're asking you for the rating of the circuit breaker, the type, then what is the minimum maximum loop impedance that would cause instantaneous tripping, the short circuit currents that would happen between line and neutral, line and protective earth, then insulation resistance between neutral and protective earth, line 1 and protective earth, line 2 protective earth, line 3 protective earth, RCD tripping current value, tripping, how many milliamps it trips at, how much time it takes to trip at, touch voltage, polarity, protective conductor continuity, so on and so forth. So here I've got a meter with me. And you see,
if you can unshare the screen, then your camera will be bigger.
Yeah, fine. So is it visible now?
Yes.
So I've got this meter here with me, and I'm just going to turn it on. And if you see on the menu here, we have firstly continuity of protective conductors, insulation resistance testing, loop impedance testing, RCD testing. It's got an auto test function, phase sequence, voltage frequency, so on and so forth. So it's only with a meter like this, these comply with the IEC 61557 series. It's called a multifunction tester. Can you really fill out all those parameters that are required from our standards? And now with the CEA regulations, this has pretty much become mandatory. So in my opinion, unless you've got a professional who knows how to operate one of these and has access to one of these, they've got no business touching our electrical installations, and our CEA regulations literally stipulate that.
Okay, thanks, Krish. We will come back to you with another question. But before coming back to you, I have we got a brief idea of what exactly is going on in other nations or developed nations. But our system is probably little bit different. Now, question again back to Apav sir and Saliji. Both of you, if you could answer, would be great. So, for example, regulation number 3, which is talking about a designated person to operate and carry out work on electrical lines and apparatus. So, for example, work permit and issued by appropriate government, all these are there in the regulation number 3. What is the name of the certificate, and what is the process of issuing such a certificate by the state government? Apav sir, if you can answer this, then we will come back to Saliji.
Yes. As you rightly told, it is a designated person either to operate and maintain. Also, he has to install also. Another provision is there in another regulation, say regulation 45(5) or 32, sorry, 32 also. So the thing is, the supervisor, designated person, has to operate and maintain. Another area of work is to install. Under his supervision only, it should be installed. So we have to create a manpower for this. In Tamil Nadu, what we are doing is, his name is, he is designated as we are issuing certificate as supervisor competent certificate. That is either a diploma holder or a degree holder, irrespective of basic qualification. The experience will count. For example, he should have a minimum of 2 years experience and have worked in a ST installation or a licensed EA licensed or ESA licensed contractor. So for this, we insist on the day one, whenever he enters his job, his work at the supervisor, sorry, at the contractors, under a contractor license, he should simultaneously send that I have been appointed. Then only it will be considered after 2 years whether he has full qualified. And he should also present during inspection, electrical inspections. So based on that, we issue SEC holder after 2 years. And beyond this, we issue wireman competence certificate for ITA qualified. That can be a fresher. ITA wireman, either wireman or electrician, they can get the WCC. Going down, we are having one more category, wireman helper certificate, because we need a lot of manpower and there are no sufficient ITA also. So what we do is we collaborate with the ITA institutions. We conduct periodically examination to the persons who are in the field, who are already working in the field, but they are not qualified as ITA. That it can be an 8th standard or a 10th standard person. A lot of people are actually doing this work. We interest a practical test. We conduct a practical test through the ITA institutions and interview them. We allocate wireman helper certificate. Subsequently, based on their performance, they will be inducted as a wireman competent certificate. So this is 3 cadre. And there is one more cadre. Among the supervisor competent certificate, there should be one more cadre, a special cadre. That if that person has a ESV experience or highly qualified, then he will be treated as a qualified, yes, SEC qualified Q. We issue a Q, but that is not issued in the certificate. It is in our records. We maintain. If such a person is appointed alone, a EHV, a ESA license will be issued. That's the case. Beyond this, we do not undertake any other form of.
Thank you, sir. That means these people are required in the factory or in the premise of the consumer for those voltages. For example, the special license for the EHV consumer. Thank you. Saliji, over to you, Saliji.
We can divide this regulation into 2 parts. First, the person who is expected to work on electrical installation should have a permit given by the state government. And second, he should be designated by the employer. Means where he is working, like the owner of the factory or owner of supply, the key persons of the supply company, his engineer, his superior engineer, they should designate the person, and that designation should be for particular task of work. So this is very important that a person who has been having license from the or competency certificate from the government, you cannot put him work on any type of electrical installation. Suppose he is expert in low tension installations, you cannot put him work on high tension installations. So the designated person for the particular task of work is total responsibility of his employer. See, I have seen in supply company, they employ the electricians on contract basis. One of the such electrician tested the ST panel with his tester and got electrocuted. So this has happened when I was in the government service. So such thing may happen. You cannot designate any person to any type of work. For particular task has to be mentioned in the register which has been mentioned here in this regulation. For which task of work you have designated him.
Okay, okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Can
So,
I come in?
we have
One question.
yes, please.
Yeah, this regulation 3 and 31, how can we differentiate whether it is just for the supply lines or is it on factory? Because factory we have a separate safety officer, regulation 5.
See, electrical safety officer, there are two classes. Electrical safety officer is a separate entity, and safety officer as defined in the factory regulations is separate entity. Where there is electrical load of 250 kilowatt and above, or I think it comes under factory act, there has to be electrical safety officer. So the regular safety officer cannot act as electrical safety officer here.
Okay. So, Mr. Amrit, probably the question is answered. Thank you. Now, participants, we have a request. We have about 200 participants right at the moment. The participants, if you can avoid the technical questions, today our focus is mainly on the regulation, the legal part of the regulation, or about the contractor or the CEA and so on. If you can put the questions based on those regulations, it would be easy. Also, if you would like to ask the questions directly to the participants, you can raise the hand. We will allow you to ask the question. So now over to the next question. To again, probably to all the participants, especially I will start with Saliji and then end with Mr. Krish. So Saliji, in our National Electrical Code and IS 732, we have included a detailed format for testing the low voltage electrical installation. And of course, there is no format for high voltage installation, but there is a big list of a list is included in NEC part 1 section 17. So
Yes.
Now, as we already discussed, the formats which is put on the regulation and the format which is on the standard, these are actually, this is a little bit different. As Krish told, the formats as per the standard IS 732 or NEC is followed globally. So what is your view on these two different parts? Anyway, we already discussed it, but if you can make it clear, would be
My
great.
view is very clear in this regard, which I have been pursuing since last so many years. See, there has to be uniformity between the checklist and these inspection formats. It is very important, and each format should be classified for the particular type of installation. A same format cannot be used for all type of installation. For public installation, suppose it is cinema theater, you cannot put same criteria for the installation of residential electrical installation. So there has to be categorization, and based on the formats given in the IS 732 under clause 6, the format should be classified for the different type of installations, and there shall be uniformity between the formats given in the CEA regulations and the regular what is given in the IS 732 or NEC.
Thank you, thank you. So, Appavu sir, what is your opinion on this case?
Yes, sir. So as far as this, Krish already explained along with showed is yes.
Hello, sorry, my system got disconnected. Appavu sir.
Am I audible now?
Yeah, yes. You are audible.
Okay. See, Krish has already demonstrated as an instrument that can be used for all type of testing. Is there any
There's
problem?
a bad echo.
Okay. How about now? Is it okay now?
No, the echo is still there.
Oh, I don't know.
Go back to now to one.
So what I want to say is whether it is audible or not, I don't know. Please tell me, am I audible? Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, you are audible.
Oh, fine. Thank you. Sorry. The thing is, we do not have a foolproof and a composite system to test in every installation and declare it safe. Whether it is installation testing, RCD testing, or earth loop impedance. So beyond this also we should have some more things. For example, we have to ensure coordination between, it can be a relay or breaker. Some relay coordination should also come into. So depending upon the, as Alice has told, depending upon the capacity of installation, we can shortlist as per schedule 2, 3, or 4, whatever thing. We have to shortlist for the domestic premises, for a small industry, MSME, for a high voltage, for an EHV, for a GAS. So this is an elaborate thing. What, as far as the verification as per NEC is concerned, we can include it. That can solve all the problems, all the parameters that can be extended up to all the high voltage installation up to 33 kV. Beyond 33 kV, we should, on the GAS and generating plant, we have to use different and additional parameters for checklist. That can be done based on the existing practices. To start with, we can first adopt the NEC verification parameters with the least number of affordable cost of instruments in our country. That's my opinion. I don't know.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can please tell what would be the cost of such an equipment which can cover all the test protocols that you have shown? Just to know that.
Sir, it is approximately from 50,000 to 5 lakh rupees. See, at the moment, these meters are not in demand in India. As a result, the manufacturers, we should understand that importing one number for a specific customer and supplying would be very difficult for them. But once when the volumes increase, of course, probably it's about 50,000 rupees, 30, 40, 50,000 rupees. That is
can be done. Yeah, in such a case, it is possible because we are having a lot of several pieces of instruments and tank tester, line tester, and so many things that can be put in a single instrument, which can be affordable for ESA, EA licensed contractors. We can use for the LT premises. We have to see domestic premises.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Over to you, Mr. Atul. You are already a certified chartered electrical safety engineer in Maharashtra. So, did these meters, which is referred in the IS 732, is it or National Electrical Code, is it insisted for making, or is it demonstrated, or is it any relation to the testing, or sorry, any relation to your examination of CEA? Can you throw light on it?
As far as CSC is concerned, the requirement was only for the tongue tester and the earth pit tester. Okay, but from there was no any requirement to get a register as a CSC. So, but as an individual, we are using also the multifunction tester to have a fault loop impedance and RCD testing and all those part. But for a CSC purpose, it is not a mandatory as of now.
Okay, for the CSE purpose, the earth tester and what was the other one?
Is the tongue tester.
Tongue tester. Earth tester means the earth electrode testing. Am I correct?
Exactly.
So earth electrode testing, the CEA's responsibility is to take care of the electrical safety in low voltage installation up to 440 volt. That is the purpose, right?
Generally here, as said, here in Maharashtra, notified voltage is 11 kV. So CSC can actually verify the installation up to 11 kV. But generally, most of the facilities are what we are doing is up to 415.
Okay, thank you. Here I could see a small mismatch because the earth electrode resistance testing has been removed from the standard IS 732. If you look at the 10 test, the list of 10 tests, earth electrode test is removed from the standard because earth electrode has nothing to do with the safety. Because the concept has already changed to earth fault loop impedance. But anyway, still, I think we have to do something to change the basic thing. So, over to you, Mr. Amritlal. What is your opinion on the forms and the methods?
This forms, whatever is given, there is no Even if we are cross-checking the regulations, in none of these forms, you find the regulation 31 is complied or not. It is not at all a question in that. Only regulation 33 stands for the electrical contract, or in which the regulation 31 also will be complied. And the basic problem what I see is the fixing of voltages. First, we have to fix up the voltages. Then, based on the voltage level, you can fix up the wireman or a supervisor or a competent person. It should be in that way, because the safety hazard comes from primarily from the voltage. Then it transfers to current or whatever thermal effects, whatever we see that. But the basic problem what we face is the voltage. So fixing of voltage is the main criteria, and based on the voltage level, you fix up what are the tests to be conducted. You fix up what is a qualification required, what are the necessities of a electrical supervisor or CES. It
Yeah,
should be
thank you,
in
thank
that.
you. Thank you, Mr. Amrit. Thank you, Mr. Amrit. Over to you, Krish. What is your opinion? I hope you must have read the regulation, the test formats in Schedule 2. Over to you.
Absolutely. So if you don't mind, I'll just share my screen and compare the formats. Just one moment, I'll just have that here. It's towards the end. There we go. Okay. Share screen. Desktop one. Okay. Okay. So if you look at the checklist here in IS 732 and NEC, they are asking us, is the main earthing terminal provided? Are connections secure? Is one conduit allowed? So this is a very specific question. And in fact, if you realize, all of these refer to specific clauses in IS 732 and NEC. So you are essentially checking compliance with IS 732 and NEC. And especially when it comes to the actual tests, these are required on a per circuit basis. However, if we look at the one in the CEA regulations, the questions are very different. You know, they are, for example, state the condition of the metallic coverings provided for various conductors, satisfactory, not satisfactory. It is more general. And so, one moment. If we look at the tests required, it just says, one moment, where is it? State insulation resistance between conductors and earth in mega ohms. So that is a very weird question to ask, because are you asking me to plug my insulation resistance tester onto the entire installation and test between what conductors and earth? So it's very general. So in my opinion, this tells you what to do. It really shouldn't be telling you what to do. It should just be referring to the standards, and this tells you how to do it. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah,
Yes,
one more thing. One more thing, Krish. Can you just
Yeah.
pull down this format?
Which one?
The CFCA format.
Sure.
Yeah. See at the bottom, if you will see at the bottom, the person who is going to sign this report. Please,
yes.
please come down. Come down.
Supplier, owner, consumer.
See, this is the weird thing. How can a person, owner, can sign all these technical questions?
They absolutely cannot.
This is impossible. This is a great mistake which has been done. There should be the signature of CEC or electrical inspector. The technical questions cannot sign the owner. How he can self-certify these tests are correct or not?
They have absolutely no business doing it. I'll just pull up the report in NEC, and we'll look at the signatures required here. So if you see here, it says designer, constructor, and inspector.
Yes.
These are the correct ways of doing it. The owner has no business certifying the installation. They don't have the technical competence to do so. And it says, see, IV being the person responsible for inspection testing of the electrical installations, as indicated by our signatures below, which are have exercised reasonable skill and care when carrying out the inspection and testing, hereby declare that the work for which I have been responsible is to the best of my knowledge and in belief in accordance with 664 IS 732, and except for any departures. the extent of liability of a signatory is limited to the work described below. So you're actually taking liability for it. So it's a big
Yes, yes.
difference.
Yeah, he takes the responsibility. These are the very important formats which should have been included in our actual field working.
Yeah, I think in that case, the regulation would have been simple, so that you just refer to NEC, anything up to 1000 volt or whatever the voltage. You use the formats of NEC, would have been simple, or IS 732 would have been simple. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That would have been-
The regulations should tell us what to do, and the standard should tell us how to do it.
Yes. Okay. So, but anyway, probably we will put these points to CEA, so that at least next time this can be improved. So now we have some interesting questions. One from Mr. Ravi Govande. My understanding for Regulation 3 is any licensed contractor in any state can work in any state if he is maintaining a register. So Regulation 3 he is talking. Any licensed contractor in a state can work by maintaining a register. Sali sir, can you throw some light on it?
See, the first condition, he has to qualify from the competency which the state issues. And next comes the register that employer has to keep as a record. So there is hurdle in the first side.
Okay, if we can read this clause, and if you can read this clause on the screen, and if you can interpret, it would be great.
Yes. See, if in clause subclause 3, part 1, he should possess certificate of competency issued by the appropriate government. Appropriate government is the state government, respective state government, and in case of union territory, it is central government. And second thing, his name should be registered as referred in the sub-regulation 2. The sub-regulation 2 comes after part 1 of regulation sub-regulation 3. Then the owner or employer can designate for the particular class of work which he may carry out.
Okay.
So again, the question is here, the certification given by one state, whether it will be considered by the other state, that depends on state to state, the internal policies.
Okay. Okay. Right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now we have a few members who have raised the hand. Mr. Kirit Patel, you can speak if you are if you wanted to speak, and if you can ask question. Also, Mr. Digvijay Kumar, Mr. Lalit Walia, Mr. Ravi.
Mr. Gopakumar.
Yes, please.
Am I audible, Mr. Gopal?
Yes,
Yeah.
I want to speak.
Sir, Mr.
Hello.
Ravi, please hold on. First is Mr. Digvijay. After that, we will take your question.
Yeah, Mr. Gopakumar, actually, this is a question regarding our company. Actually, in a private organization, we have ITI diploma holders, and ITI, they work on electrical system. And we have also registered of all these persons that they can work on certain systems. But is it the requirement to have a supervisory license, must requirement from electrical inspector for all these persons?
Yes, as per regulation, it is necessary. In most of the states, that is exempted for the person who is already qualified in electrical diploma or degree. It is exempted. In some states, they require 1 year's experience after passing the examination, and in some states, it is not required. So, depending on state rules, licensing board rules, it should apply. So,
in this case, I have to check with the established company state. This is the thing.
No, you should check with the state government inspectorate wing. But they have to have the permit issued by the state government. You can simply apply for the permit, giving their qualifications criteria. I think in most of the states, these formats are also finalized in which format a person can apply. So you check with your state.
even
Thank
though
you.
they
Thank you,
are
Saliji.
having even though they are having qualification and
Yeah, even
experience
though they
as
are
well.
having qualifications, some of the states require experience also of some period. So both these then make them qualify for the competency certificate. They
In a
need not
simple
have
way,
to,
I would, in a
have to
simple
appear for
manner, I would like to say, Salis, I'm sorry to interrupt.
yeah.
An automobile engineer who can manufacture a car, he needs to have a driving license before driving it.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Hemant Salisan. And there is one very common observations we received in audits regarding electrical panel safety mats, sir. If there is a small panel like 250 volt supply is there in that panel and 440 volt supply panel is there, and in an industry environment we find lot of small and big panels. So then these inspector or these auditor used to ask us, you must have safety mats in below these panels, all the small and bigs. This is the really required, or what is the
Actually, if
rule
you
says?
read the regulation 3 subregulation 1, it says that the duties incidental to the generation, transformation, transmission, conversion, distribution, or use of electricity. So if you precisely see, it doesn't say the manufacturing process of any panel. So how you interpret this regulation depends on that. But as per my knowledge, the person who is manufacturing the electrical panels doesn't become as a part of use or distribution of energy.
Yes, thank you. Thanks, Saliji, and thanks, Mr. Digvijay, for the question. To answer the final, so every small panel need a rubber
Safety
mat in
mats.
front of it. Actually, these concepts are already changed. For example, in the IS 732 or National Electrical Code, if you look at the test number 4, it is the floor resistance and wall resistance test. So floor resistance test ensures that if the resistance of the floor is, you can measure it with an instrument, and if the floor resistance is higher, then you don't need to put a mat, and if the floor resistance is lower and wet, for example, then you can make a necessary step. Similar is the situation with the wall. So you have to actually do a test as per this, the NEC, and then do it. Putting mat everywhere probably is actually not required. So you can go, but if the regulation has written it, then it is my wordings are not correct. So I don't think that it is there in the regulation.
Thank you, Gopasan. Actually, it is very difficult practically to put mat here and there at all across the plant. This is the one thing we face.
Okay, thank you. Thanks,
Anyway,
thanks,
thank you.
Mr. Digvijay. Thank you. Also, Mr. Ravi Govande, you were talking something. You were asking some questions.
Yes. I want to talk. Yeah. See, as regulation 3, am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. Regulation 3(1) clearly says if like all the first regulation 3 subregulation 1, a contractor who has entered into a contract with a supplier, consumer or owner. So if I'm a contractor in Maharashtra and if I'm having a contract with a say MP owner of a factory, if I'm maintaining my registered, then they should allow technically. I should be allowed to use, because this is what my interpretation is. Because contractual contract as per Indian Contracts Act, it is applicable in all the states. There is no need, even as a private limited firm, I can operate all over India. So if I'm a contractor in Maharashtra, why I cannot work in other states? The state's government should allow technically.
Thank you, Mr. Ravi. Your question is well understood, but unfortunately, I am not the person to answer it. My experience or expertise in the legal part of the regulation is absolutely zero. Apav sir or Saliji, your help is required.
See, as I told you, the appropriate government, the word is there, and that appropriate government has been defined in the Electricity Act. So that is respective state. So this is the question. This is actually the problem why those are not recognized in other states.
So
Oppose, sir?
unless the
Appropriate government should issue the certificate of competency. So appropriate
Okay,
government
thank
is
you.
state.
So not
So,
only the
so
register,
whether it is to
maintaining
be
the register.
interpreted as any state, that I don't know. But usually it is not considered so.
See, legally appropriate government is a state government. This is what
Yes.
my understanding. So
Yes,
Maharashtra
I-
government license should be accepted by all other state government. Of course, whether they will accept it or not is a matter of interpretation by the individual inspectorate. But logically or legally, it should be acceptable actually.
I would like to say, am I audible, Mr. Gopa?
Yeah, you are audible, sir. Please.
Actually, it can be legally, he can, he's right legally, but constitutionally, state government, safety is the subject of state. Okay, so state government has to promulgate any regulation, any rules or protocol for the safety of its people within its jurisdiction. That's why the appropriate government, you see the wording appropriate government. So these are the things that we have to revise in the regulation of the constitution or the act or some other protocol. Unless these things are revised, you can't get for a Maharashtra person, he can get employment. He can get, these are all the things that is also constitutionally afforded to every citizen. That's all right. But how the state government will ensure without violating constitution, without violating the regulation. So these are the things that we have to come out. As Gopa said, that one nation, one license, just like a car license, driving license, it should be there. For which so many other things, reforms have to take place. So in our country, state provide one rule and central provide another rule. There are still conflict in everything. But as far as the safety is concerned, state government issues the designate these people. That's why they are speaking.
Thank you, sir. So not only maintaining the register, it should be as per the local government as written here in the regulation.
Just add one point. 31 third paragraph, if he reads, it allows only for central government jobs. So it is very clear by that.
One moment, you are saying regulation number 31.
31 third paragraph.
31 third paragraph. Yeah, can you read this?
31
I think you can see the.
Provided further that in case of works executed on or behalf of the central government, and in case of installations of mines, oil fields, railways, an electrical contractor having license issued by a state or union administration shall not require license from other state in which the work has to be executed. That I think will clear his doubt. This provision is included.
But that applies for works related to central government.
Yeah, that's what that clearly states. You cannot take a state license to other state.
So
That
technically, hello, can I speak on this?
Yes, please, quickly.
If I am allowed to work on central government undertakings, why not for the state government activities below notified voltages? This is my question. Above notified voltage, definitely I understand the state government people will have the jurisdiction, because self-certification is the norm, particularly in this regulation. So, means I'm talking purely legal point of view.
Correct.
Central government undertaking, they are allowing. So below notified voltage, the state government should allow the other contractors. This is my point of view.
Correct, but regulation wise, it is not.
No,
Yeah,
sir.
Mr. Ravi, thanks
one
for the
thing.
question, Mr. Ravi. Thanks for the question, Mr. Ravi. See, what you are saying is logically correct, but at the moment the regulation is in this fashion. So you see, all our rules, regulations are made by people for the people. So we have to take it up to CEA and we have to write to them and we have to take some steps so that maybe it can be amended after some time. So
Yeah,
this is possible.
Yes, I can tell you the states have power to deviate the regulations, except regulation number regarding that periodical inspection, state can deviate any regulation. So those powers are with states. So you can make such demand to your state, respective state, and regulations can be amended.
Okay, thanks, Saliji. We have the next person who has raised the hand, Mr. Alagendra Singh. If you have a question, please go ahead.
Yes, sir. I am audible, sir.
Yes.
Sir, this is also regarding, I have got almost clearance because in the central government department, earlier in railways and airport authorities, CPWD, they were allowing all the contractors enlisted in their department to execute the work in different states. There was no license required to be issued by, if I am a person from Rajasthan and I am awarded work in Himachal Pradesh, I was executing work, there was no entrance. But recently they have come to some now conclusion that they are not allowing to participate and demanding the state government license to which you want to work. So this has become a, I mean, contradictory for the contractors to execute the work and get license in every state. How this will survive?
But this para, if you see 31 para, the proviso state, no such requirement is there for the works.
Yes, it stated. Yes. So I have to submit a clarification to the department. So to whom authority I should write or mail to the so they can give me clarification that central government is not allowing to work me in a different state under your guidelines.
No,
because the state authority at headquarters at Delhi, they are not willing to change the guidelines. They say you will have need to require. I asked them on what basis you are, I mean, debarring the persons. So
Sir, your
I have to make
well
a clarification.
Sir, your question is well understood. In the regulation, anyway, it's very clearly written that this is not applicable for central government. Saliji, can you make a quick reply on this?
Yeah, of course, it is not required. It has been clearly mentioned in regulation number 31, proviso under third para. So you can give reference of that, and legally it is not required.
Yes, so while replying to the authority who has asked this question, you have to refer to the regulation 31 sub-para, and you have to tell that, look, the regulation is not demanding for it, and what is the reason you are asking as a special case. Thank you very much, Mr.
I have submitted this para, sir. Sir, one thing I want to make clear that I have already submitted this para. Even the top authority, they are not interested to change the rules. So how I should approach the Central Electricity Authority to make this clarification? To whom authority? I wanted to know this, sir.
See,
you have to ask the Electrical Inspectorate wing of CEA. You can find out those information in the website of CEA. You can look at the website of CEA and get it carried forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Also, we have Mr. Harshal Maliwar. Mr. Harshal, you can unmute yourself and ask the question. If there is no question, thank you very much. So we have we have a big questions on the chat box as well as on the Q&A. But the problem in the Q&A questions are most of the questions are generic. In the sense, there is some statements as well. For example, somebody is stating that now the engineering colleges there are no students to study electrical engineering. Of course, that is correct because during our program in Bangalore, which was conducted in a college, the principal was telling they started the engineering college 50 years back with civil, mechanical, and electrical engineering. But now in electrical engineering, they are not getting enough students, and it's one of the very reputed college. But anyhow, we also are going to face challenges because now EV charging is coming, and now wireless EV charging will come into picture. The technology is going very fast, but we don't have competent persons to do the job, and this is one of the reasons for the accidents which is happening in India. Just for all your information, on an average annually about 15,000 people plus or minus something are getting electrocuted in India, which is an average of about 700% out of 100 million population per year. So which is quite high if we look at the global average. And with respect to fire, the second accident from electricity, all of you knows very well that most of the days we open the newspaper with a news of fire accident in a building and people are getting killed. And out of these, majority of this accident, about 50% happens within the consumer premise, low voltage consumers premise, means within the building of the consumer, and about 46 or so percentage happens in the low voltage distribution, low and medium voltage, but then up to 33 kV. About 2% happens on the extra high voltage. This is an average statistics. It means majority of the accidents are happening in the within the consumer premise. In order to make our buildings safe, of course, what we have seen in these discussions are the formats which is used in the regulation need some little bit improvement. The type of meters, the type of equipment required for making the test is need a little bit amendment, and over and above skill of the people's skill. People has to be, the engineers has to be skilled enough to carry out the testing, because electrical engineering is often, it's a very specialized area. We have Mr. Badri Narayan Babu. If you have any question, you can unmute yourself and you can speak.
Good morning, Gopkumar. I am from Bangalore.
Good morning, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear my voice?
Yes,
Okay.
very clear.
Okay. See, the license rules are formed by the state government notifications to suit their state requirements. Okay. Now, in the discussion, there was a different types of contractors in different states. For example, in Maharashtra and Gujarat, only one type of contractors are there who can work all the installations. Whereas in Tamil Nadu and Karnataka, there are different types of contractors whom they have limited the wireman work of a residential house, or an MB installation for a class 2 contractor, or an HT installation for a class 1, and EHT for a super grade contractor. Okay. So that is a must. Now these differences are there while issuing the contract line from state to state. Okay. To avoid all these things, it has to be, rules has to be amended only at the central government level, and the licenses has to be issued from the CEA for a contractor who can work throughout the nation. If a license issued by the state government, one state government, and if he wants to work in the other state government, he has to work, he has to apply for that state government based on his license issued from his state, and take a permission from that state government, and he can work in that state also. That provision is also there in all the states. So this is my clarification regarding electrical contractors, why they cannot work in other states.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Babu sir. So what you have explained is logically very, very correct. So different systems are followed in different states, so the local requirements are there. So, but in a nutshell, we can maybe conclude that our motto to reduce the number of accidents and reduce the death of people. Probably it may take a longer time to implement because of these complications. We have two more people who has raised the hand, Mr. Digvijay Kumar or Mr. Nallatampi. Hello. Okay, there is we have few more people raised the hand, but unfortunately no one is asking the question. Now we actually
can I speak?
Yes, please.
Hello.
Mr. Sunil.
Can I speak, sir? Yeah, speaking.
Yes, please.
Yeah, this is Sunil Biswal from Odisha. I have a few things to add to the ongoing discussion. Sir, the first thing and foremost thing that the last so many speakers said, actually, I have already seen one notification by CEA that a contractor licensed in any state can straight away work in PSUs and central government organizations without taking permission of a state that he is working in. Suppose a contractor from Maharashtra, duly licensed in Maharashtra, comes to work in Odisha. For any PSU, railways, and all central government organizations, they don't have to take any permission from the state electrical inspectorate. It is already there is already a notification by CEA. I've seen that notification, but unfortunately, I do not have that with me now. Number one. Number two, regarding the supervisor and the contractor. In Orissa, sir, the arrangement is that the contractor anybody can become a contractor, but he must employ a supervisor and a few permit holder workmen. And there is a lot of foul play in that aspect. Because normally what happens, whoever wishes to get a contractor license, they engage one retired government electrical inspector as a supervisor. And this person carries on work without ever the supervisor coming to site to inspect. In fact, they are located physically hundreds of kilometers away. So that is one foul play going on in Orissa. I do not know how the situation is in other states. So the very purpose of ensuring the sanctity of electrical work, the standard, the quality, that takes a second preference as things are happening in Orissa.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, that's all I just wanted.
Thanks for the explanation. We have Mr. Badrinarayan. We have Mr. Nallatambi, Navakodi Nallatambi. You can speak, sir. Also, Mr. Muralidhara.
Sir, good morning. Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Sir, my point is, it was discussed that rubber mat is required or not. As a safety auditor, electrical safety auditor, what I do, only in the front of panels, they are being laid, not even for every panel. As per me, there is IS for rubber mats also, and it controls the electrocution. It eliminates the electrocution. We don't know which type of shoes they'll be using. So I need a clarification from you or any panel member that rubber mats is required or not. There is IS. When IS is there, it should be used. Am I correct or not, sir? Please correct me.
Correct. Partially, it's correct, Mr. Muralidhara. The problem is electrical items we are using in our houses as well. So, in front of a refrigerator, can you imagine to put a rubber mat, because there is an IS standard for a rubber mat? So, standards are there for the product. It has to be applied appropriately depending upon the requirement. For example, so there are. First, we should look at the definition of who is going to operate. Is he a normal person, or is he a skilled person, or is he a competent or an instructed person? Or this is the wording which is used in our I-732 or the National Electrical Code, or whether somebody is going to work under the supervision of a skilled person or a competent person. Not exactly competent person, it is instructed person is the word. So, and there are several safety measures which is included in the standard, such as for direct contact and indirect contact protection. So one of the safety measure is to increase the insulation of the place where the person is standing. So if that safety measure is implemented in that location, then you need to put a rubber mat. Otherwise, in a location which is where the safety measure, protective equipotential bonding and automatic disconnection is implemented, technically you don't need to put a rubber mat, but you need to measure the floor and wall resistance as an additional safety measure. So I hope this is my view. I don't know the views of others. Thanks for the statement, sir.
Thank you, sir.
So,
thank you.
Yeah,
thank you, sir.
thanks. Thank you. So now we are at the far end of the program. Normally we used to close the program in 1 hour 30 minutes, and now it is about 1 hour 45 minutes or 47 minutes. So Appavu sir, you would like to conclude any point?
See, there are again and again the simple doubt clarification required. is whether the licensed contractors can work in any other state. We have to address this issue seriously because before which we have to do a lot of groundwork in consultation with the central authority to provide a common base like testing. We have to revise the testing parameters as per NEC and how the verification is done, what are the type of instruments to be used, because we are using the S12 rule prescribed instruments, earth tester, mega. So concept are changing. We have to change our concept, our also in accordance with the latest trend and technology. More importantly, the codes and standards. If the regulation do not, regulation is supremacy. But the code prescribes the exact technical points. If the regulation by virtue of supremacy neglect these codes, then the total objective will be missing. So we have to revise the regulation to accommodate these missing factors in accordance with, especially in the verification and the licensing. This is my opinion, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thanks for your opinion, a generic opinion. So, in conclusion, if I say that probably I am wrong, if I make a statement that these parts, especially the regulations related to the electrical contractor, where each state is having their own, making their own rules, plus the chartered electrical safety engineer. Of course, the chartered electrical safety engineer was started with a very good motive, but the state governments, most of the state governments are not geared up to take it up further. Why they are not taking it up further is a different question. However, at the moment, from Mr. Atul, what we understood is there are about 17 chartered electrical safety engineers, and the number of installations below notified voltage, if we look in Maharashtra, probably is maybe few lakh of installations. So these 17 chartered electrical safety engineers have a lot of work to do. This is also one way of looking. But anyhow, these numbers are very less. We have to have enough people competent enough to carry out the work. So as a conclusion, of course, we will collect all these opinions and we can write to CEA. But before writing to CEA, all of us should understand that if each one of us start writing to CEA, they will be flooded with opinions and the proposals, which will make the whole system confused. So the better way is we as NFE can discuss, all of us together can discuss, make some proposals and then submit it to the Central Electricity Authority as a proposal of all of us together. That would probably maybe a good step. So we will take some initial steps to make a comment for all of you so that we can take it up further. So with this, we would like to conclude the program. I hope our panelist doesn't have any much questions to address. If you have any points to address, you are welcome.
Gopal sir, it's right that we are addressing the licensing as well as the testing. But one more thing, CESE, it's an important part that can also be included. That must be included because the neglected area is domestic premises, LT premises, and where more number of accidents do occur in our country. Out of 15,000 accidents, as per NCRB records, as already told, nearly 30 to 40% occur in domestic premises. Those areas are neglected by 100%. Only CESCs can do this because the CEA regulation specific amendment has been brought to institute the CESC regulation. But unfortunately, that doesn't happen. Of course, Maharashtra has done something. It should happen throughout the country. And in a reasonable manner to generate more people, not tens, ones, or few. Because we are having 140 crore people. Only 10 crore of people are taken care. But what about the remaining 130 crores? We should provide an adequate number of CESCs. In such a way, we have to, it can be lenient at the starting stage, but it should happen. Without people, we can't. Then it will again be neglected and prolonged for another decade. That's my opinion.
Thank you, sir. Saliji, any points you would like to answer? I hope there is no points. Mr. Amrit, sir, you are on mute. Saliji, you are on mute.
He is telling something. He is on.
Our new regulations have done really a lot in this the 2023 version, but still there are many things which needs to be done here henceforth also, and we will have to work together. We will have to compile all the requirements, think it on our platform, and give the suggestions to CEA. I think that united work will give some results also. That's what I hope.
Yes, thank you, sir. Mr. Amrit.
Yeah, my point is the regulation, NECIS, everything is there in place. But the implementation part, we are very much lacking. Like, who is going to enforce all this? Just by having one contract license, people will be certified for hundreds and thousands of installations without even.
Yes, thank you. So basically, in a nutshell, if we look at the present system, there is a way of licensing people, but there is how we quantify their skills is a question, which is absolutely, I think, a little bit missing. Of course, not the experience or not the qualification matters, but the skill matters most of the time. Qualification can be there. It doesn't mean that he can do a work. A highly qualified person, probably if he doesn't have the skill, he cannot work. So skill quantification need to be added. Over to Mr. Atul. Any points you would like to add?
Yes, just a point is that now, as in Maharashtra, as we are having a team of some CSEs, now further process of the CSE, particularly about the implementation of the regulations, because now almost we have 1 month we have received, 1 or 2 months we have received the certificates, but we are facing the difficulties to just have a meeting with the CEA because we don't know the further roadmap that what should we do, because there is no any such a type of the information from the CEA to the consumers that they have to conduct the statutory verification by the CSE. There are 1 or 2 we have seen, but it should be in numbers, because there should be awareness among the consumers also, as they have to do the verification from the CSE only, because there are a lot of people in the market they are doing, and that is also refer to the NEC 23, whatever the test and the points are mentioned in the NEC, that all CSE and should refer that only, and the report format should be like as shown by the Krish. So I think that could help to make all these electrical installation in a safely manner. So this is what just want to highlight.
Thank you, Mr. Atul. Over to you, Mr. Krish. A quick conclusion.
I think the real takeaway for us is that A, the CEA regulations make the National Electrical Code and IS 732 mandatory, and B, the people, the competent persons required to carry out this must adhere to this. So I think that's a great starting point for us. And lastly, obviously, competence is what matters. So having a qualified person is not the same as having a competent person, and having a competent person is not the same thing as having a qualified person. What we're really looking is for competence, and our competence is very clear if who can fill these forms up, who can test these installations according to these this criteria.
So thank you very much, Krish. I hope I am audible, because I have a small internet issue. So now we come to the end of this program. We will actually, in between 2 times my internet also got disconnected. I think nobody noticed that I went out and came back. Thanks for that. My computer last 2 weeks, it is having a lot of trouble, and I have no time to get it repaired. Anyhow, before the next program, I will do it. Thanks for all the participants as well as the panelists for having your views. As we discussed, let us put all our points together and submit it to the CEA as a view of the citizens of India, or as from NFE. we can, I think, improve the situation and ensure that the number of accidents are getting reduced and more people are saved or more lives are saved. That is the ultimate goal. So next week, we will have another program, which will be the part 2 of lightning protection. Part 1 was conducted a few weeks back. So after the part 1 of lightning protection, the regulations are being published. So we made 2 programs on regulation. Next week, we will be back to you with the part 2 of lightning protection. So we request, please join us and let's enhance our knowledge and make a safe nation. Thanks to all of you for participation as panelists and as a participant.
Thank you,
Over
GK
to you.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.